Hi everyone. We're a little bit early, but of course that's because I had to do the check before we really get into it of can you hear me? And I can't really check that. It says you can, but I always need to make sure my hair is doing all of the things today. So, hi. I hope you're all excited for the It's Doing Everything. For the first comic book club official chit chat. This is very much experimental. So, we're going to see how it goes and then, improve, make changes, whatever we need to do from there. So, I actually today physically have the book with me. We will look at pictures from inside the book. So, I'm very excited to actually be able to hold it because the other option was screen sharing, which of course, it's all the rage. And I do have Streamlabs, but I'm not going to lie. I am currently watching tutorials by 16-year-olds about how to set it up properly. You're middle-aged one. But so how many of you have read the book? I feel like a teacher with homework. Who read the assignment for this week? Well, so how it worked was there was a vote in the members tab. And when I posted, actually, some people were surprised by the choices. For the first one, I just picked books that I thought were interesting. I got a bunch of suggestions later on. Some of them were like a university reading list. So I think that I want to iterate what exactly let me not go out of the frame, what exactly I want to accomplish with all of this. It's not, your academic hoity-toity, the pinkies up kind of book club where we're only going to focus on deep themes and elements. Of course, we can do that because that's fun too, but it's mostly just to chit-chat about a book that a lot of us read and to have that company and companionship of having other people to chat about it with. Because I know sometimes, you read a thing and you just want to talk to people about the thing. And you have no one to talk to. Well, not anymore, because we're going to talk about Batman, Holy Terror, which when I first posted it, some people were really worried that it was Holy Terror, the one by Frank Miller. And no, I wouldn't do that. Not for the first one anyway. Like, dang, that would be really intense. No, we're talking about Batman Holy Terror, who is not on the cover of this Batman Elseworlds collection. Instead, that is the time when Batman became Green Lantern. Like, what if Green Lantern was Bruce Wayne? Which is why I always laugh when there are later stories that go, he could never wield the ring. I'm like, except for all those Elseworlds and the like, it's fine. But we're looking at the first story to hold the Elseworlds logo. Not that DC hadn't been doing Elseworld style stories for a long time. I mean, that's essentially what those imaginary stories that we cover on the channel all the time are. They're just not called that. Speaking of which, I went into a deep dive on those that will come out later on. But lots of people think it's Batman Gotham by Gaslight, which comes out before, but doesn't get the label put onto it until after. So it retroactively adds it because they decided it was going to be a thing that they were going to do because it was working out. So there are tons of Batman ones for these. And there are a bunch of collections that they're now releasing for different characters. Batman's got one, Superman's got one, Justice League has one as well. So yes, it's nice to have them all collected in one place, I have to say. So opening it up. Batman Holy Terror is not that long. For example, it starts on page 7 and then the next story is on page 53. So it's not like a crazy long Elseworlds, but it packs a lot of detail into those pages that it has. It's written by Alan Bernert and has art by Norm Brayfogle, who you've seen probably pretty recently because we did those Mud Pack videos and he was the artist for that. So get excited. If you enjoyed that art, you're going to have more of that in here. So I will hold up the cover for you so you can see it. There you go. I used it in the thumbnail as well. It's very, very simple, but I think it conveys what it's going for, that you're going to be dealing with some kind of theocracy and Batman. And when you hear people describe this one, it's basically, they call it Batman is a priest. They call it the Batman is a priest story But there's so much more to it than that. And because there's been so many more Elseworlds since then, I need to stop leaving the frame, but it's not going to happen. I'm just going to be bopping up and down the entire time. It's fine. It's because I added a pillow to sit on so I could have comfort. But, oh, Knocks Out Comics, welcome to the fanboy stud level. You are a fanboy stud. For those of you who have been here long enough to realize what that is, which is when that fan wrote in to give the suggestion for the black costume and just wanted to be called a fanboy stud. It didn't happen, but we do it now. This story came out in 1991. So it's been a hot minute, basically, since this came out. It kind of gets dismissed a little bit these days, as I was saying, because there are so many more complex ones, but there is a simplicity and charm to this one that I think makes it stand out. It's also very complete in its own right, which is very exciting. There we go. So the concept. This is essentially one of those alternate history stories because a lot of these Elseworlds fall into basically the realm of a sanctioned AU fanfic where you're dealing with an alternate universe type deal. This one is the church and state never separated and it spread out to the colonies. We just have intense theocracy and Gotham is Gotham Town with an E at the end. And it's pretty, it's pretty horrible, pretty oppressive, but you have this interesting stylization of the old-timey style costumes and like, but with some modern technology, which is interesting to look at least like visually, it's very interesting. We have, of course, our start. We can't start one of these without Bruce Wayne's parents being murdered. Like it's the rule. We need sad crying Bruce to start our comic off. Otherwise, I mean, how will we even know? That we need to know. So he's befriended by Inquisitor James Gordon in this, who figures out that there's something shady about how his parents were murdered, but doesn't tell him. So what we have instead is a Bruce Wayne who grows up with all of this faith and the comfort from that. And so he doesn't develop the same anger that our traditional Batman does until he's older and he's going to join the clergy. And then Inquisitor, well, actually now he's been promoted. Gordon shows up and it's like, well, actually, I feel like you should know that your parents were murdered and it was really sketchy and it was sanctioned by the church. And here are their diaries of what they were doing. They're part of this rebellious resistance sect who is like providing healthcare to the undesirables of society, like helping women get abortions and helping the LGBTQ plus community and all of these kind of things. And so they were murdered and so Bruce decides that, well, I don't know if I want to join the church no more after all of that. Maybe I should be Batman. But it sets him on this path of reevaluating everything that he's known about his life up until that point. Alex Cedre, thank you. I'm just glad it's the Elseworlds version, not the terrible Frank Miller, not Batman version. Yeah, you can tell that he wanted that to be Batman in that holy terror. The art is really beautiful. Look at Bruce. Look at how happy he looks. It does a really great job of conveying that you're not dealing with the same angry Batman at the start. This is a really nice scene between him and Alfred before he learns the truth. And because Alfred's still his father figure. And it's really sweet. He's telling him that it was Alfred that made the home a home. And that's just always happy for Dad Alfred to show up. So continuing on, at the very least, the synopsis before we talk about everything that happened. So he reads these journals. He goes and talks to one of the last surviving members of this resistance cell, who is Charles McNider, which is a great use of Dr. Midnight, because they incorporate characters in such a way that if you're familiar with the DC universe, you'll recognize them, but it's doing more than the slapping a coat of paint onto it. Like it's utilizing them for a reason, which is something I appreciate because there's a lot of time taken to build this universe. Like its focus is on creating a completely encapsulated universe within itself. It's a very concentrated Elseworlds type story. So we have look at that, the panel of him becoming. He is becoming. And so he decides that he's going to repurpose a costume that his father wore years ago to a costume party and that he's going to become Angry Batman. And you have, look at that panel right there. That is good. Terrifying. I love panels that really showcase how terrifying it would be to be set upon by Batman in the night. So he gets information that his parents' killing was sanctioned really high up the chain by the Star Chamber, not Star Labs, Star Chamber, but evil in every universe. So look how sad he is. He's so sad. It's like he realizes that like everything in his life has been a lie. Focus on Bruce, not on me. Look at Bruce. So ARX Day first. Thank you very much. And yes, he is Priest Batman. Holy Batman. Holy Priest Batman. What follows for me is my favorite part of the entire story, which is when he goes down to the underground of Star Chamber and he meets all of these different characters who have been captured and are living this horrible life underneath being experimented upon, like they're being used to be made into super soldiers for the state. He runs into Barry Allen specifically, and they form this very quick bond, which I appreciated, and he's kind of his guide through this horrifying underground world. And you get these really sad moments with Barry as he's sobbing about how he had a life and he worked for them, and then this experiment happened and changed him, and now he's been trapped down here and his family doesn't even know what happened to him or anything. It's a lot of a lot. And so because you have this different Batman, it's like he's slowly discovering how horrifying everything is as he's going through this with Barry. There's the stuff that happens with Aquaman. Poor Aquaman. Like, look at Aquaman. Aquaman's just a horrible shell of himself because of all of the experiments done upon him. They tried to mate him with mermaids, all kinds of things. Alcidre, thank you again. Now imagine Batman singing Hellfire because he's thirsty for Selena. That's the sequel. Batman Holy Terror 2, Broadway show. They have a battle with Zatanna, which is really interesting because she has been cast basically as a witch who, instead of now doing witch trials, they convert them to work for their side, which is a fascinating, there are lots of little layers to this story. Oh, the art, I can't overstate how amazing the art is in this. Look at it. It's just, Norm Brayfogle always conveys emotions so well. They come across, they leap off the page. The same thing happened in Mudpack. In Mudpack, you had ridiculousness happening, like Basil Carlo trying to resurrect Matt Hagen with tap water. I'm sorry, Matthew, who is also in this. He is called Matthew here as well. I tell you, it changes everything. As soon as you call him Matthew, he's a different person. I love that I have this hair tuft that I'm just like, no matter what I do, it refuses to not tuft. Where's the name? There we go. Erdell. So who they're using down here is the head of all of these experiments is Saul Erdell, which is really fascinating because way back in the day, he was the person trying to bring Martian Manhunter to Earth. So I find that a very interesting choice that they've made there. And one of the things that Bruce has been hearing throughout all of this is that there was this big hope, the Green Man, and that the Green Man was going to save them all. And so as we go on, we see what became of the Green Man because, also, spoilers. It's a really rough story. Barry Allen does not make it. It's not a good day to be Barry Allen. And we find that the Green Man is Clark. Clark landed, but because of all of the religious atmosphere of the time, the couple that found him, which is still the Kents, turn him in instead. And so he gets experimented upon horribly and they learn all about his powers, but ultimately he proves too unruly for them to do anything with. And so they have to kill him with some of the radioactive material they found near the crash site, which of course is kryptonite. Hence why he is the Green Man. But there's a really great section here where Batman just describes how he's looking at this person strung up there in Jesus pose, by the way. And he just feels that he can feel hope dying. Like he just knows that this person was really important and things would be entirely different if he was alive, which is, I like that little nod to the importance of Superman. Yeah, you're right. Nobody makes it. Hagen doesn't make it either. Matthew, that's what he gets. But Superman manages to save Batman anyway, because when Erdell goes to shoot him, the bullet ricochets off of the body, which is still invulnerable, and hits him instead. And you get this really lovely pan. Look at how grateful Batman looks there. It's just grateful. And there's like a single solitary tear just trickling down there, which is fantastic. I know I just keep saying like, it's great, but I can't overstate that there's so much going on here. And it always makes me sad when I see the like little blurbs it gets these days, which is like a Batman Elseworld story. Not the best, not the worst. It made me feel the same way as Mudpack, where I was like, yes, but there's more to it. There's more to it than that. You need to see the whole thing. You can't deserves more than a sentence. It's like I just keep having things fall apart to new Chebe moments. Like it needs more. So we go on in the story, and Batman discovers that it wasn't one person who ordered his parents' death. They were still killed by Joseph Chill, who was sent out to do this execution, basically. So really, he determines that it's not one person that he can hold accountable, but the entire system. And so in order to make any real change, he needs to dismantle the whole system. But he is just one person. Can he make such a change? Well, he's going to try because he's Batman. He is Batman. And what works really well in the story is that it understands the concept of faith pretty decently, in that it incorporates it into all of the decisions that the characters make. And so Batman Bruce is still coming at it in this universe of a position of still having faith and still trying to work through the confines, or rather, depends, because he still believes in God, but not the system, basically, at this point. So he's going to do true good, he feels, as Batman, and his lovely priest-helmed collar thing he's got. There he is. Look at him. The nice art style with the halo, like a classic art piece over there. Do we get a full Batman? I think we get a full page spread of the Batmobile, which looks great. So look at that. Oh, so good. Menacing. I don't know how he is hiding that. I mean, they have news reports in this universe, but it's fine. Don't think about it. Look at how cool it is. Comic Book Kid 210, thank you very much. Not sure if I love the 80s or the 90s more for panel design, but Brayfogle is one of the absolute masters. He did a lot of the Batman Beyond designs and work, and I love the look of Batman Beyond so much. I was so happy that Terry McGinnis got so much from the pool. He got that much percentage. I was like, yeah. I'm surprised how many people wanted to vote for Dick Grayson. Not because he's a bad Batman, but because he doesn't like being Batman. I'm like, why are you doing that to him? He doesn't want it. Don't do this to him. So basically, this story finishes off on him musing about what his life would have been like if his parents' death really had just been a random accident, not some giant orchestrated event, Court of Owls. But of course it's trying to set up what if our world was the Elseworlds? Of course, that doesn't really work too well, because what's making this so much of an Elseworld story is the theocracy element of it, essentially. And I wonder if this could be the inspiration from the Vampire Priest Batman in Astro City. It does have a lot of vibes of the Confessor, doesn't it? A lot of Confessor vibes in here. So it's a simple story, but it's not a quick read, which is something that I think is a strength, because it means that there's lots of details that you're spending your time looking at. There's lots of connections that you can make with which character is who and what are they doing and why are they there. And that makes it a more involved reading experience than some Elseworlds where, it's just basically like a coat of paint on something, where it's, but Batman's a cowboy. Batman is Superman. Speeding bullets. I see you. I see you speeding bullets. Mr. Another, thank you very much. Love your channel. Keep up the great work. I try. I have so much more playlists, and I think I need to be stopped. My husband was talking to me. He was like, not everybody always cares. I'm like, I know. I need to be stopped. Sometimes I do need to be reined in a little bit. I will acknowledge that. I go a bit too niche on occasion, but it's fine. There we go. Let me just flip through. Where's the page that I'm looking for? This is why I don't normally have physical things, because I never go through something all in one thing. I flip back and forth. That's how I whip my hair back and forth. That's how I do it. I love the paintings. Just everything. I keep looking at all the little details. Now I have to sneeze. I'm going to try not to because that's a thing. That's a thing that people pay for on the internet. And I'm not going to give it for free. No, there we go. What it is that all of the details about Batman have been thought about. They've been thought about, and there's an effort to try and integrate them, but in a way that makes sense to this universe. It's not trying to do the reverse, where it's trying to just, like, okay, we'll just put whatever, and then they can deal with it. Elseworlds. The early Elseworlds very much have that vibe of trying to be this really exciting, self-contained story, because I don't think this could maintain. It's not a story. I don't know how well this would do if you tried to make like an entire Batman Holy Terror universe. Like it's not Future State. Basically, you can see that in some of the modern Elseworld stories where they're more trying to build into being something bigger. They don't stand as well by themselves, if that makes any sense. Like you saw it with a lot of the Future State stories where you read it and it was kind of like, okay, that was a thing that I read. But then if you read them all together, they combine into something else. Whereas these ones, because that's not so much a concept as of yet, are very much like this. This is my idea for this very specific thing that I want to present to you. What if, but we can't call it that because Marvel, and we don't want to call it an imaginary story anymore because technically, aren't they all imaginary stories? Then Elseworlds. I know I only put one, I didn't put an S in my thumbnail. Elseworld. I guess it's because we're only looking at one, so it's still technically accurate. Don't at me. Don't at me. There we go. So for those of you who read it, I want to know, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it? Had you read of it? Had you read of it? Had you heard of it before? Had you read it for two separate questions, trying to combine into one question, and it can't. There we go. Let's see. I don't know. Batman was surprisingly competent for someone with no training. They do mention that, he has a tiny training montage, but it's more like he just wants to be fit, Like, here we go. It's like, I'm fit. I work out. I work out. It does because when he goes down to the chamber, a lot of what occurs is like, firstly, Barry Allen helps him a lot because, he has powers. And so that's very helpful, especially when dealing with Zatanna. But he gets through that with his brain because he's still very smart and has the ability to assess situations. So when he realizes that Zatanna needs to speak her spells, he throws a gas pellet at her. And then that explodes in her mouth. And so she can't speak and she inhales it. And then she knocks herself out that way. There is the unrealistic moment when he breaks free from Hagen because they have Hagen, Clayface too, bring him into the room to look at the Green Man, who he has hanging up there kind of as a trophy and a warning of like, look how powerful we are. We defeated this most powerful being that we found kind of deal. And he feels rage for the first time, like true rage, because before this he'd had a kind of peace, but coming down and seeing all of these awful atrocities and realizing that so much of what he believed, how awful the system that's propping it up is, has caused him to feel like a genuine, like real universe, Batman level rage for the first time. And so that rage empowers him to break free from Clayface. To like, I like it on a kind of, thematic level, but no, not physically, like, I'll take it for the themes. There's one page I can't show because there are fish nipples. I swear, that's always the bane of my existence. It's just like, oh, you're going along. Oh, some fish nipples. Gotta censor them. I got a comment on one like, oh, so you gotta censor those, but not this man butt. I'm like, it's not my choice. I don't choose what YouTube censors. Don't at me. Oh. Where's the rage? Let me find the panel. The fever, the rage that turns men cruel. There we go. The fever, the rage. His eyes. I love when they do the expressions with the eyes, like through the mask. You can see the eyebrows and the like furrowing, so that and the paralleling. Look at that. Oh, it's very well. Yeah, fish nipples were from the mermaid because it's not one of those like Disney mermaids. It's like one of those like manatee style, like kind of still a fish on the top and also a fish on the bottom. They were trying to mate those with Aquaman, and they created things that should not be. And one of them still lives there and is just trying to end itself by banging itself against the glass over and over again. Aquaman, of course, being telepathic and being able to feel all this is not okay, and that's why he's catatonic, and it's really sad. It's just dark. This is a very dark story. I kind of want to be there for the pitch of like, so Batman's a priest. They're like, yeah, okay. And everybody's sad. Everybody's sad, and it's really depressed, but really interesting. We're gonna make it interesting. There are tons of little details to discover, like on the newscast at the very start, where they're just describing things that are going on in Gotham town with an E at the end. You learn that Oliver Queen's been executed because he was supporting the pornography industry. Just at the start, you're like, dang, Ollie. Ollie, why? Not, I can totally see Ollie doing that. Do you like the newscaster's hair? How we're going to pretend that the fashion from way back in the day would still be trickling down centuries later, she says, as all of the 90s fashion from when this was released is now currently in vogue once more. So, yes. Do you like my like Two-Face Illuminati shirt? I found it, and it was so weird that I needed it in my life. I was like, this is a shirt that I need to assault people with, assault their eyes with it. Mr. Freeze, not, yeah, holy, it is dark. It's really dark. I love the Elseworlds stories, but okay, let's chat about the Omniverse for a second. The thing that makes the Elseworlds work is that they have a main universe and continuity that they're bouncing off, and a character consistency that they're bouncing off. Part of what makes Bruce's characterization in this so strong is that you can see the differences that having this upbringing full of faith and cushioned by the system has made versus, you know, main Bruce, who essentially was just like, yeah, he had money, but he was just left there to kind of deal with it for a lot of it. And that caused him to get angry and hard a lot earlier than this Batman. Even this Batman, he never gets that hard. Like, he doesn't, the coldness. I mean, not that main Batman, at least in the past, was all that cold, because he had it more together before like the modern age where they were just like, Batman can't handle anything ever, never. Just no. There were some people when I first read this though that I wasn't familiar with, you know, who they were. So there's that level too. If you like to do a bit of research, like, oh, who is that? You know, who is this character that's being like used in these cells and the like? Again, that's part of what makes it have that extra layer of taking a while to read, because when you're picking something up, you want to spend some time with it. Although this was definitely worth it. I'm in Canada, so how much did this cost me? Oh my God. So this was $41.99 Canadian. But wow, but you get, how many stories did I get in here? Oh yeah, I got a lot. Oh my God, that just sounds so Canadian there. Oh yeah, bud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I got 9 Elseworld stories in here. So that's not bad. When you think about it, that's not bad. And of course, it's not that big, so it's not taking up a huge amount of space, which is, I'd say if you're interested in Elseworlds, these are worth checking out. They put them in, they are chronological, I believe. So you're getting them kind of in the order. Gotham by Gaslight always gets its own thing though. Not only because it technically wasn't in Elseworlds, but because they can make bank by selling it, because people still really like that one. If they sold this by itself, I don't think it would go like gangbusters as much as I like, you know? I remember Lobby. I did it right? Yeah. Thoughts on this version of the bat suit. I couldn't get used to it. I liked it a lot because thematically it had the clergy vibe going on, like the symbols and the like of the clergy on it, which I thought really worked for a Batman in this universe where he would have that connection. I felt that that symbol made more sense for him in this universe rather than just a bat. And I'm in love with the billowing, ridiculous cape. Like, Brayfogle always does dramatic like capes and trenches, and everybody has way more fabric than they could comfortably walk with ever. But it's fine. Oh my gosh, why? Why today? Why? There we go. because everybody has those style of things going on. Like look at Zatanna's, like it's still very much like the colors and the type of costume because she's had a couple of costumes throughout the age, and that one with the cape, it's very reminiscent of that one, but then with the symbol on it. She looks so much. Oh, and I love the little drawstring on it too. Just the classic draw. You could mess people up so much if they were literally tying it with drawstrings like that. Just yoink, it's open. Alcidre, thank you again. Are you going to cover Kingdom Come? I might. It's back there. I can see it in my eye line. It is back there. I have it. It's beautifully drawn too, of course, because it's Ross. So you have all those. He doesn't do interiors like he did that. He did Marvels. And that's part of the reason I loved Marvel so much, was just the art in it is stunning. Kingdom Come is such a classic that it really deserves its own attention drawn to it. It's just sometimes, you feel like everybody's already talked about it and you're like, do I have anything else to add from this discuss? Hey, you got yours from the library. I see you. Having fun isn't hard when you've got a library card. I don't see as many people talk about this one. I feel like it kind of fell down the memory hole a little bit, especially with, the rise of general secularism and stuff. I don't feel like it's as appealing to everybody as it once was, but it's, especially if you know some of the history and the practices from these like Inquisition eras, and to see them applied in the universe like this, it's interesting. Hawkwork Cthulhu, thank you very much. Any other Elseworld stories you might talk about? I will talk about, and I mean, I did a whole video on Catwoman Guardian of Gotham, which is the Catwoman is Batman story. That's what I mean by some of them are just, the later Elseworlds are very simplified. They're just, what if Catwoman was Batman and that's it? We're not going to put too much effort into, why does she have Brooks working for her? She went to see a cat theme. Everything is, there's like zero effort in trying to actually expand it into a workable universe or explain any of the details that are there, like the kind of fascist regime that like Gordon seems to be running. Why? I would have liked those details, but it's like, nah, you know why you're here. Catwoman in a corset. I'm like, how dare you? I feel judged and called out. And yes, I am here for that, but I would also like more substance. Like there's a bunch like that. Speeding Bullets is another one, like I mentioned earlier, that's exactly like that, where instead of being found by the Kents, Clark is found by the Waynes. And those can be fun, but they don't showcase the depth and how clever you can get with Elseworlds like this one does. This one's showcase. What it showcases really is that if you have a strong grasp on the characters and their core, you can make them work in a really different setting and story, but still make them feel familiar. This still feels like Batman, despite being in such a different type of environment. Whereas some of them you're reading and you're like, no. There's one in here like that. That one is definitely Robin 3000. Robin 3000 is, the 90s were really obsessed with like, oh, the new millenniums. Robin 3000 is just, Robin 3000 should just be its own comic, honestly. Its own separate futuristic deal. The Batman elements do not add that much to it. In my opinion, you may completely different. Be like, Robin 3000 is my favorite Elseworld story, and how dare you? You got a lot of different art styles with the Elseworlds too. Like this is the Joker's Wild one that's in here as well. Love a good Demon Batman. Demon Batman is always a fun Batman. So you got both. You got Priest Batman, you got Demon Batman. This book is giving you everything. What more do you want? Daniel Heron, thank you very much. If you ever want to do a rewatch of a comic book movie, let me know. I have a channel that focuses on film, scores, soundtracks with Birdman. Oh, cool. Thanks for letting me know. I'm sometimes very down for a rewatch, but secretly, because I watch so many adaptations and things, then just don't talk about them. And some people think it's because I don't like them. It's like, no, I just don't want that to be the sole focus. I forgot that he met Abraham Lincoln in the second story. I'm flipping through it now. Like, oh my. I'll show it to you. You need to know. You need to know about it. You need to know. What I like about these collections is that they bring attention to stories that you might not otherwise have known about, because there are lots of, even just anything, even regular runs, if they're not selling well or no one seems to really care, they just kind of fall down the memory hole a little bit. Oh my God, why? Shedding everywhere. Just blah, 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 blah. Holy Terror is like Batman Year One, shows his first year out. It kind of is. Yeah, it's like it's one of those early, those like Batman is becoming who he's going to be and figuring out who he is, and the trial and the error of that. Even though he does admittedly in this fall into it pretty easily. He's like, I'm a vigilante now. This is what I do now, and I'm good at it. Robert Ramos, thank you very much. Elseworlds versus What If? Both is good. I like both. Although I will confess, just in general, in the What If category, a preference for a lot of the earlier ones, because some of those went places. It feels like they greenlit anything, and of course, it's got one of my favorite truths of the Marvel Universe. That is Sue and Namor, and Reed's complete meltdown if that happens. That's one of the early ones too. Like, what if she married? What if the Invisible Girl married Namor? I'm like, yes. All of the yes. Yes, please. Those ones were a bit more focused. Marvel What If tends to be a bit more focused, I find. And then they do their Elseworld style stuff under different banners, whereas Elseworlds just goes wherever. I am curious what they're going to do with Planet Elseworlds that they introduced in the Omniverse. But again, like, it's not worth it, in my opinion, if you're not going to be serious about it, basically. Like, I'm really passionate, like the Vampire Batman one. Like, I'm really passionate about Vampire Batman, and I'm going for it. If you're going to do it, you got to go for it. You got to just, like, own it. Own it, like Priest Batman. I'm trying to, where's the one? There's a really good line in here about it, where he's talking about the rage. If I can find it. See, this is how organized I am. So organized and professional today. No, I'm not. There we go. Oh, Jojo. Thank you very much. Love the story. Thanks for the suggestion. When they mentioned a mer lady, that was not what I expected to see in this comic. I know when you hear Priest Batman, then you're not necessarily prepared for when you go down to the dark of Star Chamber. But I like that it acknowledges that there are still all of these people there and how they would be treated in an environment like this. It's just the living conditions, and how basically if you want to survive or have a good life, you have to turn and work for them, which is what they were trying to do with Barry Allen, but he was refusing. And even though he was kind of becoming a friend to Urdell, he still kills him because he studies his powers and he learns that there's a special aura around him that allows him to not be affected by friction as he moves so fast. And so he disables it. And so he just burns alive because there's no barrier there anymore. Wow. Poor Barry. It's rougher than how he died in 1985 Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's rough to be Barry Allen in this story. Courtney, thank you very much. Hair maintenance. Yes, hair maintenance, wig maintenance, all of the things. You want to hear a scary statement? Y'all haven't seen all my wigs yet. So make of that what you will, you know? I don't think this format is too bad. I always see Streamlabs and I feel like I need to do it, but this isn't terrible. And you can see the pages, which is nice. I love showing you the digital ones in the main videos, but it is kind of nice to physically be able to turn it and hold it and manipulate it. I mean, that's why you buy it. That's why I buy it. I can't speak for speculators and collectors. That's why I buy it, so that I can hold it and read it and feel it in my hands. Oh, Rex Mason looks so terrified. Poor Rex. The art always gets, like, really good art can just completely change the feeling and direction of a story. I have a question actually, just regarding that. Are there any stories out there where you may even be annoyed buy the story, but the art is so amazing that you have it anyway. Because there are a couple of purchases that I'm sitting there like on the fence about, where I'm like, I could have life things, or I could have this comic that I don't really like, but like the art of, That's why I feel like comics like this are a really good value, because you get so many in one, and so many stories that you might not have picked up otherwise. And that might sound like, why would you want that? But it's a great way to find comics that surprise you and that you end up really, really liking. I didn't even buy this one for Holy Terror. I did buy it for the one on the front because I was salty about a recent Green Lantern issue I had read, where it was one of the Rebirth era ones back there in the omnibus, where him and Batman are trying to sort out their issues, and he gives Bruce the ring, and Bruce just melts down and tries to recreate his parents, and he's like, that's why you couldn't wield the ring. And I was like, I disagree. We agree to disagree. Hal, Mr. Another Thank You. Will you cover Batman Darkest Night? I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm going to cover. That's the thing. I genuinely do like where my whims go. I have no idea what I'm going to cover from one day to the next. It's awful. I should have a schedule. Like, I should be covering all of the WandaVision stuff and being a good YouTuber and doing all of those, and I will next week. But I don't know. Then I have been in this Cassius Payne hole trying to figure out if he is the Clayface in Hush for a couple of days now. So if anybody can confirm that for me, then put it down there. Mr. Third, show us the wigs. Do they have names? No, the units do not have names. I've not gone to that point where I'm naming them. This one. You know what happened? My cat got to it. My cat attacks the wigs. It's so bad. If I let him up here, he's just like, wigs. He's a monster. Lobi. Yeah, see, I'm going to remember. I will remember Lobi. Thank you. I felt the story is pretty good, but I feel like it could do with like 25 more pages. It goes from 0 to Batman in 0.5 seconds. I felt like he went to vigilantism too fast. That's definitely fair. I'm not sure if it would have sustained for longer, to be honest, even as someone who really enjoys it. I feel like if we had expanded it, it might have reached padding territory, and it might have started to show some of the holes in the concept. Because like when you have these alternate history universe things, if you sit there too long, then you start to think of, wait, so like really this one thing happened and the whole society was, then you fall down that rabbit hole. But what about this? What about that? What about this? So sometimes with these types, I find it's better to get in and out. Just make your story and get out, even though he does. Yeah, no, he Batmans that up real fast. Like, where do we go? He reads his parents' journal. He goes and visits Charles McNider. And then basically the next couple of days, he decides to make the Batcave, make the costume, and go out and be Batman. It's he's mad. He's not going to take it anymore. That's the line I was trying to find. He makes this great statement about how the rage he feels is worthless unless he can channel it also with intelligence and with a plan to really make an action plan to take down the state. And I just thought that was a really good point for him to make. Otherwise, he's just raging against the machine. Matthew Salveria, thank you. Please read the other history of the DC universe. Like I said, I have no idea when I'm going to get to anything. Doing Future State, it didn't burn me out, but I didn't like that I couldn't cover as much as I wanted, because I know what I should have done. I should have done like giant overviews, and every week given each comic like 3 minutes in its own segment and been like, this was this was that. But no, I had to go ham and do voices and like everything for like all the stuff. And so then I only got to a couple, and there were a bunch more I read that I didn't even talk about. And I feel though, like I saw the burnout happen in like the audience, even as I was feeling it. So I saw people who were like, nah, there's no burnout. It's fine. I'm like, no, if you read all of Future State, there is definite burnout. And it reminded me very much of why I don't keep up in general, like why I don't bother trying to be current or keeping up, because I'm just like, no, it's exhausting. At least I find it to be exhausting. And I find it takes some of the some of the fun out of it. And I don't know, I'm not a FOMO person. Like I can talk about something weeks, months, years later and still be just as excited about it. I know that there's some people who are like, no, who cares? It came out months ago. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm like, no, it always matters. It matters to me. It still matters to me. There's still a couple of future state ones that I haven't even finished. Like I didn't finish doing The Flash. I didn't finish Superman. I don't know if I'm going to do videos on those. I had a massive giant like roundup one. I'm like, I don't know. Like it's a lot of effort for a lot of future state. But I will probably do Infinite Frontier, I think. Just because Booster, my man Booster. I gotta boost the booster. Anthony Broderick, thank you very much. Your game is fierce. We need a lip sync from you. No TikTok over here. Don't have time for the TikTok. Mr. Another, can you explain your feeling for Reed Richards? Oh, are we diverting? Are we diverting off of the Elseworlds so that I can tell you about Reed? It's been 45 minutes. Yeah, all right. I'll tell you about Reed. I will I'll make a note to myself so I can be one of those YouTubers who puts an actual timestamp in the thing and then you can mark it and see if you want to jump to things. I'm learning. But like Batman, I am becoming a real YouTuber. Reed Richards. Oh yeah, that's the professional note taking. So there's this thing. It started, I think, when I was on Top 10 Nerd that I hate Reed. I don't hate Reed. I think Reed's awful. Like I think Reed's like not a good father, not a good husband, all of those things. But I don't hate him as a character at all. What I hate is that the stories never seem to acknowledge that. And they're like, you know who's great? Reed. And I'm like, no. It's fine that he's not, but can someone please also be on the same page as me? I actually think Reed is a very interesting character. I enjoy that he is a jerk, and I did not care as much for when they made him nice guy dad and he grew a beard, and I was like, no, like I like jerk Reed. Not every character needs to be nice. Like if they're going to be mean, I feel like they should have like a purpose and like I don't think it should be just like random unmotivated whatever, but I thought that Reed was interesting. I felt that Reed had these negative characteristics, and I thought exploring them, even though they never really seemed to do it on purpose, was fascinating. It's like how there's this level of characterization to Hal Jordan that they never go into that I personally find very fascinating, wish they would focus on, but they don't because they're always like, he's the best ace pilot, greatest Green Lantern. And I'm like, but he's also like a klutz who can't like get his life together or pay his rent or any of those things. And I wish they would focus more on that because it would make him more interesting in my opinion. Like he's great at being a Green Lantern and all of that, but terrible at life. I feel like that would be a more interesting character than when they're just like, he's the best until he's killing the entire Green Lantern Corps. You know, basically. Spawn. Oh yeah, did you hear that there's gonna be a Spawn verse? I have Spawn as well. The capes in this make me think about Spawn. All big capes, all big giant billowing capes. Like the cover, look at the billows on the cover again. I just want to show you the cover again. Look at those billows. Look at that like Spawn like billowing out at the end there. And there's the Cromwell like flag over there. It's just church font. So many little things. I know I always do like a channel, like a cover review. I think the covers are important. The covers need to convey what you're trying. I like that this cover is all like, this book is classy. And I'm like, no, the fish nipples. The Fantastic Four is the most useless superhero team. There's nothing they can do another team can't. It boggles my mind that Doom hasn't killed them yet. Thank you very much for the super chat. I entirely disagree. The Fantastic Four is my favorite team. I love the Fantastic Four so much. I mean, I don't disagree that they can't like, yeah, they can do other things, but they have a specific niche. And I always like that about them. Like they were dealing with threats that they uncovered, mostly because of Reed's secrecy, because he didn't at the start tell everybody everything that they were dealing with. And that was an interesting angle to me too. There is kind of a subterfuge element. Again, the sketchiness of Reed that made him interesting. I like that kind of when they did the Maker stuff later on with Evil Reed, or also even the Council of Reeds, where like pretty much every Reed was evil except for Main Reed. Mwah, beautiful. Alcide, sorry to keep bothering you. Oh, you're not bothering me. But would you consider doing manga series? For example, My Hero Academia, since it has a huge DC and Marvel influence. I just love Deku and BNA, got me back into reading DC and Marvel. I love My Hero Academia. so much. I have a question for all of you vis-a-vis that. Do you consider manga comics? I feel like I don't. Like, not that I feel like one's better than the other or anything like that. I just view them differently. And I guess that's because when I was growing up, manga was still very much coming over here. I still remember when we got our first like rack of manga stuff that you know, for the first time. So I feel like that's why I view them as separate, because they came in and comics already existed, and then manga felt different, not like better or worse, just different, you know, because of it. So what do you think? Isaac, thank you. Will you still be doing Future State Aquaman? I wish they would have made him Calder in the comics like they have done with other characters. He started off as Calder, but I don't know. I kind of like that if they're going to do it, then own it, because I don't know. I'm very torn on the Calder. I wish they still called him Calder, because Calder is a cool name, but Jackson Hyde is also a very cool name, in my opinion. Like I said, I wish I was Jackson Hyde sometimes. Mo's Tube 1, thank you. Hey, Sash, I like the curly Mariah wig you wore that one time. It was so fly. Love the blue, too. Thank you. I like my big wig, too. I don't have a lot of big wigs, but, you know. Mangas, oh, so you're all answering the manga comic thing. Let me see. Different demographics. That's my thing. I don't view them as particularly different from another, but, like, I do think they do have different, like, demographics a little bit. I have manga. Obviously, I collect manga back there, too. No, My Hero is so fun. I love My Hero. I also really enjoyed The Promised Neverland recently. And Food Wars. You know, in every Food Wars manga, you get a recipe that you can then make. So, Luis S., thank you very much. Who's your favorite villain group? Mine's the Crime Syndicate. Well, I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad Future State. It's giving me Dark Avengers vibes, too. I actually don't know if I have a favorite superhero team. It's weird. I've never thought about it. Like, I know what my favorite hero teams are, but I don't know if I guess I have different arcs that I enjoy with villain teams. It depends what they're doing and how they're written. Matthew Salveria, thank you very much. Who's your favorite Green Lantern? Oh, did you get them all? Alan, Guy, John, Kyle, Simon, Jessica, or Joe? There are some missing. But it's fine because there's like 80 of them. Who's my favorite? I like a bunch of lanterns for different reasons. And that's not me being shady or cagey. I do. I like a bunch for different. Green Lantern as a concept is one that I enjoy. If I could collect all of the Green Lantern runs, I would. It's just Green Lantern all day, every day. I wonder what would have happened to Green Lantern in this Holy Terror universe. Probably never got a ring or found it or anything like that. Who's y'all's favorite? Tell me. Kilowog. Everybody always says Kilowog. They're like, Kilowog. I loved when they introduced all of like the alien lanterns. That added such a fun dimension to it. And they don't focus on them enough. I would love, forget Earth. We live here. We have Earth at home. Alien lanterns doing alien things. There we go. Do you have a favorite Batman Elseworlds story? Because Batman, they've always oversaturated Batman, in my opinion. But people like Batman, so is it oversaturation? If people enjoy it, that's another question. So, which is your favorite? Because I know that some people have, you know, there's some that are very popular. I know Gotham by Gaslight, the Batman Dracula. There are some that really stand out for The Dark Knight. I don't know if Holy Terror is anybody's. I mean, it's not even mine, but I still like it. I see Kyle getting some love. That's nice. Chigwe Ante, thank you very much. Kyle Rayner from the New Guardians New 52 is the best, in my opinion. Kyle, poor Kyle, he gets sidelined so much, a lot. Like, he was the Green Lantern for so long, and then it was just like, well, the Hal Jordan, though. And I'm like, Kyle. Smash Guy 96, thank you. Would you consider looking at Adventure Comics 275? It is a fun Silver Age story where a young Clark Kent meets a young Bruce Wayne. I love the Silver Age. And I still have Lois's. We're not done with Lois. Don't even think that. There are still weddings and the like. And I also kind of want to do this, their sons, like have their sons playlist, because the adventures of their hip talking sons with all of the like slang from the period. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to behold. So the answer is always, will I cover what is maybe. The Otaku Cat. Shout out to the superhero manga Ratman. Wow, Rotman. What am I can't talk. Thank you very much. Adrian Benningfield. Thank you very much. Dark Claw, my favorite Batman story. Oh, the Amalgam universe, where they all came together, and it was he Logan Wayne? Yeah, he was Logan Wayne. Speaking of, when I did my Bruce Wayne Batman poll, okay, I feel like I need to put this out there because there's always all these like, why didn't you put this person in the poll? There are only 5 poll slots. You can't go ham or infinite with the poll. And somebody was like, where is Wayne Williams? Isn't Wayne Williams a serial killer? I'm like, hold on, I'm like 85% sure. I think if I know my serial killers. What a statement. I know my serial killers. Yeah, he was. I knew it. Yeah, the Batman from the What If Stanley created the DC universe. Wayne Williams, American serial killer. I knew it. I remembered, and like he would have been arrested at the point that story came out. So I have questions about that naming, but that's just me. Snyder Fertillion. Thank you very much. I feel like mangas tend to finish while comics go on forever rebooting. Manga do finish. That is, unless it's Berserk. But yeah, no, there's a very different mentality. Like there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to manga, whereas there's a reluctance to have that, I find, with American comics. Just again, different mentalities. Maybe that's again part of why I feel that they're different. I know a lot of people read both, but I do agree with Eric Wars that there's a kind of a different demographic. And when you have a YouTube channel, you can't pivot too hard. I mean, you can, but you have to work for it. It's hard to pivot. You can't, like I like baking, but now my channel is about auto repair, I wish. That would be crazy. That'd be great if you could pivot that intensely and people stayed. My word. Like now I'm just the Berserk channel. Like, hey guys, we're going to talk about Berserk. I will never be monetized again because it's Berserk. I have to say, it is satisfying with a manga when it finishes because then you have the end. That's the same with, at least even when a story arc ends or a comic gets canceled and it concludes satisfactorily, you feel like you have a little like, yeah, I did that. I accomplished that. Like, reading the story, it's like, I accomplished it. Mr. Another, thank you. How about covering Guy Gardner and Yort in a future video? I've talked about Guy before. Me and Guy knows what he did. He took Ice to a porno theater on a date. Sometimes the Giffen stuff from Justice League International, which I love Justice League International, but sometimes I felt like they went a bit too far with the Guy stuff. And I know it was supposed to be like, ha ha ha, ultra like machismo bro making fun of it territory, but some of it just got mean, in my opinion, at times. Leave Ted Cord alone. I love Ted Cord. That's right. Guy always knows what he did. But you can write really good stories with Guy. I think that's my thing with characters. Like there is somebody I dislike, but I don't believe that means that you can't tell a good story with them. You can still do. I believe that you could even write a good story about a character that you hate. I cling to that belief. I cling to it. I'm flipping through it again because it's in my lap, but I really do feel that the art is a large part of what sells this. Because if it looked different or it didn't look as compelling, I'm not sure if it would hold up quite as well. Like the emotions, like, oh, poor, like so many people cry in this. Everybody is crying. Single manly tears for everybody. And warranted single tears. It is a future, or I guess a past, because it was written in 1991, of sadness. True sadness. Isn't Ted alive again? Isn't everybody alive again? Because Omniverse, because everything happened. So nothing happened, but everything happened. So even contradictory things happen. So Connor can be a clone, but also not a clone. But then again, like they're like, don't think about it. don't think about it. And then there's the Heroes Reborn event that's going to happen over at Marvel. I'm like, I'm just going to work on the clay list. I'm going to do the clay list. I'm going to stay in my corner, a pawn that got off the board. And I'm so excited because we have Cassius. Then we have Todd Russell. Then we have Johnny Williams. And then we have to answer the question of who is the Clayface in Hush. And does it make sense? Because the numbering system stopped. And now I just am left in certain stories. You see a Clayface. I have to be like, all the math numbers start flying. A Clayface shows up. I'm like, which Clayface? I never thought I would miss the numbered system of Clayface 4 and 3, but I do. If you don't name them, how am I supposed to know? I need to know. Lobi, thank you again. Your salt is showing. My salt, it always sneaks through eventually. Also, if I keep saying your name wrong, it's just because I have that thing where there are some names that I can't say. Like Kara, Kara. I say it both ways constantly. I have done entire videos where I've said it both ways the entire way through and then have to go and film inserts after and pick one. Same with Helena. I've accepted this about myself. I've accepted it about myself. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Did we talk about the book enough? Am I a bad book club runner? I don't know. I've never actually been in a book club. That's a confession time. Did we talk about it enough? I never know. I never know if I've done it right. Did I YouTube good? Jojo, thank you very much. Are there any good Green Lantern stories where they're actual space cops in space and not saving Earth or in a big galactic war? I just want space cops. I'm pretty sure there are. I'd have to go back and look through it. The Morrison run, kind of, sort of, but that is just madness on a plate. Madness on a, back to basics. It does not go back to basics. Let's just put it like that. Justin Hoyland, thank you very much. Sorry if you've mentioned this. Are you going to do Batman the Animated Series Clayface? I think I'm going to give the animated Clayfaces like a video of like Clayfaces were had. There were Clayfaces. And so we can talk about Ethan because Ethan needs to be talked about. We can't do a Clay list and not talk about Ethan. It wouldn't be fair. The Batman tried so hard with Ethan and I appreciate it. They also adapted the classic clown face, like where the Joker and the Clayface and the merging, they did that. So that's very cool. Milo Santos, please cover more DC Marvel crossovers. I love them. I like them too. I love crossovers. Listen, if it was up to me, I would cover everything all the time. I'd have 80 editors and we would just cover all the things. It would be like 5 videos a day. It would be ridiculous. You'd be sick of me. I'd have 100 wigs. Steven, thank you very much for the sticker. No, thank you. No, but seriously, Ethan, who's Ethan? Ethan is the cop Clayface from the Batman animated series, who is Bruce's friend who gets transformed, and it's tragic and sad, and I love it. They do. They have a Japanese Clayface, and don't think we're not going to talk about Japanese Clayface and Mudface. And I was telling my husband how many Clayfaces there were, and he was horrified, and he thinks I'm not going to have a channel by the end of it. He was like, you're ruining everything. I'm like, no, Clayface. Now people are going to think Clayface is my favorite character. I'm just fascinated. I'm fascinated that you could do the same character so many times. It's intriguing and amazing to me. As amazing as being able to do a priest Batman story. Are there any others? Like, who else can you see as like, wait. Oh my God, my mind it's connecting. It's connecting all the things. Wasn't Batman a priest again in Milk Wars? He was a priest again in Milk Wars. It's all coming together. Who else read Milk Wars? That was a thing that happened. I don't even know if I'm ready if I could explain Milk Wars. There's just so much. I don't know why I remembered that. That's useless information. Saga is coming back soon. See? This is why you need the focus. And now that the focus, because we've kind of gone through it, is gone, I My mind once more is running rampant with the different ideas. I don't know. Do y'all feel that there were any like deep themes that we missed? Like some kind of like deep existential like dread or drama that we need to cover? Jamal Taylor, #1 show you want a comic adaptation for? Also love the channel, waiting on the Wig Room tour. Thank you very much. #1 show you want a comic adaptation for? So a show that I want to continue in comic form, or like a comic that I want to be a show? Because I don't know. I don't know if I want comics to be shows anymore. I've been hurt too many times before. I've been hurt. The cinematic clavers. Psycho Kitty, thank you. All the clay, here for it. All clay every day. I'm partially just enjoying the puns of the clavers. Yeah, now, oh my God, I'm just using it. You started a thing. Now it is called the clavers. It's happening. But it happened naturally, unlike them trying to call the hex on WandaVision, where they forced it in. Oh. Sometimes you just gotta jam the name in there and make it fit. Are you drinking coffee at 2 in the afternoon? Yes. Yes, I am. It's normal. These are normal things. I don't sleep anyway. I'm a 6-month-old. I don't sleep. I never sleep. Oh, I feel like I should announce I'm doing a collab with Watchtower Database that I'm really excited about. It's going to be coming later in the month. So, or maybe after, but you know, it's coming. We're working on it. And they've been very fun to work with, and I'm very much enjoying it. And it's been a very fun project. It's my first like big collab with another channel. So it's been very positive, and I'm happy to say that so far. Fingers crossed it stays that way. But so far it's been really fun because I love the DCAU. So it's cool to get a chance to talk about it, you know? There we go. Ooh, oh, so someone's got themes for Batman Holy Terror. It does have an interesting theme about the difference between the religion, the institution, like the church. And yeah. That's, again, like I said, when we were discussing it earlier, it gets it. And I appreciate that, because lots of times when like any kind of fictional material tries to delve into this, it's written from a secular perspective. And so it doesn't fully, you don't get as much out of it as you would have if it's coming from a place where it genuinely understands the impact that it can have on the characters' lives and how they approach things. So that's all. I just noticed that Bruce has chest hair. And of course, that's a thing I would notice. What's wrong with me? Oh my God, look at it in this panel. It's jumping off the page. I'm going to show it to you. Do you see it? It's leaping forth from his chest. Demonetized. Instantly, no, of course not, because he's a man. They don't demonetize for that. That's fine. Mr. Nather, thank you. Can Comet's Super Horse drama be the next CW crossover? Can it just be the next CW series? Comet. Don't even explain it. Just call it Comet and make a really gritty, grim trailer with, I was a centaur years ago, trapped in a... I'd watch it, but I don't hate CW shows. Some people have like a passionate hate from them. Like it depends. It depends. The Confessor did it better. The Confessor, but the Confessor can go places where Batman can't, because it's not bound to any of the pre-existing lore, because it's not an Elseworlds story. It's just a story about, you know, a superhero priest who's also a vampire, which adds a whole other layer. The Confessor is fantastic. Another great thing about the Confessor story is that it's told from Alter Boy's perspective and the journey of Alter Boy becoming the second Confessor. And I think that's a really cool element to it. I love Astro City so much. There are so many great stories in Astro City. Such a good shared universe. Cannot recommend Astro City enough if you enjoy those type of superhero stories, because again, of that freedom of working with your own properties who are kind of sometimes obvious what they're homaging, but then you can go and do what you need to or want to with them. So I have it back there. I always have like the desire to like get up and go get them, but also I'm like, it's too far. It's too far and I'm comfortable and I have a pillow and you know, why move? Jay Insult, thank you. Ride or die for this channel and all the whims until we reach singularity and Lois marries Clayface. I'm so glad you've been enjoying the random playlist. Those are my favorite things about comics. And when I wanted to do this comic book club is mostly like, so we can talk about the stories as we did, potentially not for as long as we should have, but also because it's just fun to live in the realm of comics and also to see what other people have read or not read. And I've discovered so many great stories from someone being like, oh, like this reminds me of that, or this is, you know, you should read this, or, and that's so fun. And I feel like it's such a great way to spread the joy of comics, to just sit and enjoy it. Like there's also a space for complaining and griping. It's not like there aren't things to complain and gripe about, but there also needs to be spaces for enjoying and having fun with it and reminding yourself sometimes why you like it. That's why sometimes it's good to just take your favorite story and like sit there and read it to remind yourself, like, why did I spend so much time and money like doing this? It's like, oh, right, because of this, because of like the fun. And depending on how long you've been in it, if you pick up the story, sometimes it takes you back to like where you were when you bought it. And, you know, like I remember where I was when I bought Hush for the first time. Yeah, I haven't bought it more than once. That was bizarrely phrased, but it's okay. Langley M. Neely, thank you very much. I never see you live. Take my money, please. You deserve it. You are my new intellectual internet crush. Parasocial relations be damned. Excellent channel. Thank you. And good use of the term parasocial. Parasocial interactions are going to be a fascinating field of study in the years to come. I hope that there are in-depth psychological studies occurring on it right now, because it's a very different form of interaction than face-to-face. Like, for example, I can do this so easily, but put me in a real environment and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. What if I just didn't talk to anybody at this party ever? That would be good too. Let's do that. My complaints come from a place of caring. No, they can. It's just sometimes it's fun to, you know, just chit chat about the comics and have fun fun times. Complaining can be fun too. I guess it's the spirit in which it is given. You know what I mean. Dark side is. I made a dark side. Yeah, I did. In the Superman punches the sun video, dark side is, because he said that gods didn't exist, which made no sense. No sense at all. I got a bunch of comments in that one couple. There were a couple mentioning that they felt it was homaging All-Star Superman. And I can see why, but I don't see why it would do that. I can understand why they would think that because those are there, but I don't understand why the comic itself would choose to do that. That makes sense. Oh. Yes. Recouping, recalibrating. So, how are we enjoying this? Do we think this is a good idea? Because I think it's really fun. And I think it's also a cool way to get some comics on the radar that you might not have thought of. And like when you get a new comic, sometimes you find a new writer that you like, or a new artist that you like, or a whole new company that you like. And that can be such a fun experience as well. That's why I also did that episode of Indie Spotlight. It didn't get picked up because the algorithm hates things that don't conform. But you know what? I'm glad I did it anyway. Forget the algorithm. Break the algorithm. Break the algorithm into pieces. All of the pieces. Oof. So I guess I'll ask a question that I kind of sort of asked earlier when I was discussing it, which is, do you think that this could sustain itself as a universe? Like, could you see a Batman Priest universe, or too many of the key players already out of the picture? Or could you replace them? Like, just because Superman isn't there doesn't mean that you couldn't have Supergirl, especially because she shows up after him anyway. Like, this story is so intricately thought out. I feel like if you apply that same level of thought to it, you could cobble it together, but would it work? Would it be as entertaining or interesting if it was continued in long form? I guess is my question. No. Consensus. No. Just waiting like, please God, no. A couple of yeses. Maybe it would need more suspension of disbelief. Yeah, I can see that. Is there any Elseworlds like concept that you would really want to see? Like in the realm of like Batman is a priest, Batman is a cowboy, Batman is a vampire. Are there any ones of those that haven't been done that you really want to see? Like Batman is a blank. What would it be? What would you want to see? I'm very curious. Tell me. There are rings in this cup because I took too long to drink it. Ah. Batman is a YouTuber. Batman is a mummy. Batman is Superman's brother. Batman is a drag queen. Batman is a superhero with actual powers. That's happened. Batman is a freelance art. Are you coming for Kyle? Kyle is a freelance artist. Batman is a cop. Batman is a good father. It really. Okay, let me tell you about Bat Dad. Look, it really depends on the era. I don't know what happened to modern Batman, but like he used to be able to handle things so much better. And the Batman I read would never have backhanded Tim across the face. I still remember the Batman who found him and like gave him the hug and everything when he found out about his parents. And no, I don't know what we're doing now or why we're doing it, but no, he wasn't perfect, obviously. But when they did the dynamic in Young Justice, the animated series, that he was a better father than Superman, bought it 100%. 100%. Bought it, resold it, bought the same statue again, the deluxe edition. There we go. Bought deluxe edition Bat Dad statue, him hugging all of his 80 children. Oh, you know what I've been reading a lot of recently? Duke Thomas. I feel like Duke Thomas deserves a retrospective. The Duke Thomas kind of got thrown under the bus a little bit. I've been thinking about a lot with all the Jace not Tim Fox stuff. And I was like, Duke? Remember Duke? Duke Thomas, anybody? Does anybody else remember Duke? Lex Luthor is Batman. Batman is a subway worker. Batman is the greatest thief. Batman gigolo. Batman is Lois Lane. Batman is a mafia enforcer. We kind of did that with Nightwing when he was Renegade. That's why I put Renegade on the list. Oh, some of you were salty that I didn't put Agent 37 on the list. And I have to admit, even though I have the Grayson Omnibus, it's right there behind me. I felt like I enjoyed it, but I felt like it veered so far from Nightwing that I don't even think of it as him, if that makes any sense. So when I put that list together, it didn't even went like right over the head. And people were like, Agent 37. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, Grayson was a thing that happened. Everybody hitting on Dick Grayson, the comic. The comic that I own. What am I doing with my life? Batman is the husband of Lois Lane. Superman's girlfriend, Bruce Wayne, is a comic that I would read. Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, honestly deserves a bit more cred in the annals of comic book history. Like, yes, it has aged terribly. Yes, it has lots of poor themes within it. But it pioneered a lot of concepts. It was actually the top-selling comic for a couple of years, up there with the other Superman books. It pioneers imaginary stories. It plays with a lot of interesting concepts. And just because not everything about it is perfect, especially from a modern perspective, doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be acknowledged for, the things that it did do and tried to do or failed at doing. Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane. Where's my omnibus? Basically, is what I'm saying. Where is my omnibus so that I can laugh and hold, and we can do this and flip through, but with Lois marrying Darnell and all of the other people that she has married. And there are actually a couple of other ones where she legit gets married that I haven't even got to yet. I am spreading them out. You don't want to put all the good ones first, and then you're left with all the quasi marriages at the end. No, you sprinkle them. You sprinkle. I almost said sprinkle dinkle them. I said it anyway. You sprinkle dinkle across your playlist. Just know that there is more to enjoy when it comes to Lois. She can sustain. Like she was so popular, and it hit a whole demographic that they were trying to get, or put some respect on Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. Lois Lane marries Alfred. There's a comic where Alfred is thirsty for Lois, and I'm trying to remember what it was because it haunts me. Lobi, this could be a good universe. Thank you very much. I feel like after the story, we could get into some interesting political machinations. How would Batman destroy government? The battle of minds between him and the priest would be interesting. Yeah, I like. How would you lead to the downfall of a society that is this ingrained to the point where the priest, because he has a confrontation with the priest at the end of this, and the priest just feels that he can let him go because he doesn't feel that he poses that much of a threat at all. Like, that's how confident he is in the power of the system. So it would be interesting. Like, would it work in the same way as Batman as an urban legend? Batman inspiring people through his actions. Curious things to ponder. Yes. Not Lois and Alfred. Alfred is going to figure in the clay list. So get excited for that. We're going to have some Alfred up in our clay list later on when we get to Johnny Williams. We're also going to have serial killing in the clay list. So get excited for that. Lots to look forward to. We have only just begun to clay. There we go. Batman can make a Bat Clan. Batman kind of did. There was Batman Incorporated, and that's where you get Duke, who had an entire run that apparently no one cares about or remembers. Now I'm gonna have to talk about Duke. It's gonna have to happen at some point now. Eventually, I don't know, years from now. I'll be like, remember when I said I was gonna talk about Duke? I'm doing it. It's happening. We're finally doing it. Batman gets rocketed to Krypton. Batman in medieval China. Batman Inc. is bad. I don't know. It depends. Like, it really depends. Different strokes for different folks, as I always say. Is Alfred still dead? Omniverse. I don't know. Isaac, does Lois marry all the Titans? I don't know if that would be appropriate. Even though when we look at the new Teen Titans, like half of them are adults anyway. It's like, Teen Titans, we're all 25. Maurice Cherry, will we get more ships from your other channel? Oh, you mean Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. That is a question to be answered over there. But we will talk about ships over here too. Like, I don't shy away from it when it comes up. When it does come up, I will bring it up. I will not hide. It's a thing. It's a part of fandom, just like any other part. And just like any other part, there are people who go too far and it can get, strange or weird, but that's the same with all parts of fandom. I'm not a fan of it being the part of fandom that you can turn around and then jump on, because, we all be nerds here. And you know what it's like to have people look at you and think your hobby is weird and like you're strange for caring so much about it. And, especially like, oh, you're getting older. Like, why do you care about all this stuff? But then to turn around to another part of the fandom that is enjoying it in a different way and then be like, why would you do this? This is weird. And like, but you're doing the same thing that other people do to you. Like, it's cool to not everybody gets everything. Like, not everybody understands why someone would build like a little rendition model of the Bat Cave or something, but that doesn't mean that it's not a worthy form of fandom or not a way of someone expressing how passionate they are about something. why do people, like, lots of times when it comes, especially to the shipping, people ask, like, why do you care about the relationships? It's like, because you love the story and the characters so much that you have all these ideas of where you want to take them, and they're so bursting inside that you can't even keep them there, that you're going to take your time and energy and put them out there. You're going to put them out there for the world, for people to judge. And, you know, like, that's passion, and that's commitment. It's the same with, like, the artists and all those things. It's another passionate form of fandom. It is as passionate as that person who will sit there and tell you that they have memorized the entire layout of, like, the Batcave, and they're like, this is over here and that's over there. They're just different forms of passion. It's the same passion as people who are like, who's going to win a fight? I've got the specs and the stats, and, like, we're going to do it. It's all just that level of passion, just approaching it from different interests, because we all have different interests in different things. And I love passion. I love that passion so much. But again, like with anything, it can go too far. Don't take the passion too far, and then we'll be fine. You know? Travis T, thank you very much. Did you ever read Bruce Wayne, Murderer / Fugitive? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did. I think I have some of the arcs with me on my shelf, like, with me in my heart. I got really passionate about being passionate for a minute there. So oh, I got real passionate. I know, McReese. I know. I'm the worst. This is why I need to stop promising things. Oh, because life happens. And then, you know. Maurice Cherry. That's why I wrote my first fanfic. I had ideas. I wanted to post it, so I did. I hear you. You know, I have fanfics that are out there, and I hadn't written in years. And then I played a game, and it was like, I just had so many cool, like, you know, I really wanted to. And I did, and it felt great. You know, it felt great to, like, put those ideas and the like out there. And there's also this misconception that all of it is, like, self-insert and all stuff. And, like, some of it is. And a lot of it, sometimes when that happens, is young writers finding their voice and discovering themselves and how to write in, like, the space. So, you know, everybody starts somewhere. But a lot of people also work really hard in the canon and to try and write in the voices of the characters. And sometimes you'll read stuff that is better than what is happening in, like, the main verse. It's like with everything. Like, there are good stories and bad stories everywhere, out of canon, in canon. You know, I'm a part of that community, so I'm very passionate about it and highlighting the positives, which don't always get highlighted. Especially, it's so easy to focus on the negatives of any community. And that's also why I'm sad when it happens, when, like, you're in the community and then they turn around, they're like, but shippers and fanfiction though. And it's like, no, come on. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to get it. But you know, don't be that, like, person who sees a person being bullied and then, like, joins in so that hopefully you don't get bullied too. You know, basically that's how I look at it. Batman is the new Animal Man. I love Animal Man. Animal Man. I love Animal Man. Batman as a Yellow Lantern has happened. Batman as a Yellow Lantern has happened. Batman as the Green Lantern has happened a couple of times. Batman as a Red Lantern. We'll just do all of the lanterns. We'll just do all of the lanterns. Batman can be every lantern. He can be the whole core. We can do that thing where you get the rainbow costume, only you have Rainbow Batman in across all of the thing, and he can be every member of the core. I'd read it. There we go. We've done it. Blue Lantern Batman would, you could do some cool stuff with that. Like, he gets the ring, but, you know, he can't really power it, because is Batman really a hopeful person? That is a question. I like that. I like pondering that. Lilby, thank you very much. Favorite Titan? I ride hard for Beast Boy. I feel the writers never take his powers to their logical extreme. Also, for the next book club poll, can we do all the indie books? Kind of burned out of DC and Marvel. I think I put an indie book on the last poll, but it did not win, obviously, because we are not talking about it. But yeah, we can put more for sure. Oh, thank you, Isaiah Harris. Thank you. Travis T, I want sexy Star Sapphire Batman, thong and all. You know, it's only fair. We keep the costume for one. We got to keep it for everybody. It's the standard uniform, you know? And favorite Titan. It depends which era, because you say that, but there are so many eras of the Titans now. Like when I think of the Teen Titans, I do think of the new Teen Titans from the 80s, but I acknowledge that there are so many other people who have come in now who would have different teams. Like some people would have come in when it was like Connor and Tim and all of them, and other people came in and it was Damian and Wallace and all of, and also because that the ages have vacillated a lot as well. So you have like so many different interpretations of Raven and the like. From the run of Titans that I think of, which is New Teen Titans from the 80s, I would say, what am I going to do? I'm basic. I like Dick. I like Dick Grayson. I'm just, wow. Now that can be clipped and used forever. Great. I like Nightwing. Isaiah Harris, thank you very much. Hi, Sasha. I love you. I love you guys. This is much fun. This is a fun way to spend a Sunday afternoon where I am. God, I'm such a cringe human. I can't wait till my local comic shop opens. I've never been there. No, I moved and then everything shut down. So I never got to go in. So when it opens again, that'll be fun times. Scotty Rob, thank you very much. My dream comic film adaptation is Section 8. What would be yours? And I always like how your hair matches your outfit. Thank you. I try. I try. Stop laughing at me. All of you, stop laughing at me. I can't help it. This is why I can't talk to people. I would love to see some kind of adaptation of Astro City. They always flirt with it, but I think it would be fun to have some of that. You could take it in so many different directions. And it's vignette as heck. I don't think it would actually work because you would need to put it into some kind of like narrative structure leading to like a big arc or something so that, regular people could jump on and get involved instead of like, this happened over here and this happened over there. But I can dream of the passion project that someone makes only for me for reasons. Let me see. We're laughing with you. I hope so. I hope so. This is why they named him Rick, because you can't do that with Rick. But I mean, would you want to? Oh, I'm still doing No. I'm sick of Batman, honestly. Fair. That is very fair. If so, the solicitations probably didn't make you happy. Okay. Does anybody else wish that like we didn't also get the solicitations all the time? Because knowing what's coming out in May, it's too much. It's too much. Invincible animation. I'm excited. I am excited for the Invincible. And I love Steven Yeun, his voice acting, since Voltron and everything. I think he's great. I'm happy to see him getting more work. I love the jokes people are making about J. Jonah Invincible. I like Sandra Oh too, representing. So Canada. Give me that Rick. Excuse me, it's Rick with a C? There's not even a K on that Rick. Do you think they're gonna collect Rick Grayson into an arc? Like the ultimate Rick collection? She laughs even though she'd buy it to complete all of the Dick Grayson comics that she has. Oh. Let me see. Gotta catch up. Oh yeah, I've got to catch up with. I see Punchline floating down there. I gotta catch up with Punchline as well because more Punchline content. There's so much. There is so much. One day, my daughter's gonna sleep through the night, and then I'm gonna have all this time to work on all this extra content, and I'm gonna be so stoked to overload you with all of the randomness that is bouncing around in my brain that is going to explode into the videos for you. Also, what I'm really stoked about, honestly, is I'm honestly stoked about that too. What I'm really stoked about, now it's become like a verbal tick that people say. Have you noticed that? I'm stoked about being able to do more live streams. I'm going to be able to do more. The more my daughter sleeps, the more live streams that I can do. And that is going to be, I'll maybe even be able to hold me to nothing because this probably won't happen. Maybe have a schedule. That's the dream, isn't it? The Otaku Cat, have you dived into all the manga Chainsaw Man? No, I haven't. I haven't dived into that one. I have a big list of manga to work through. I have read all of Beastars though, and watched all of it too. Beastars! Beastars for life. I love Beastars. Let's see you even sleep. Not much. Not enough. Not enough. When you have 2 kids under 4, you don't sleep unless they sleep. So, it is what it is. It's fun though. Wouldn't trade it for anything. It's a fun age to have both of them be at. Batman is a basketball player. Schedule impossible. How many of you also read manga? I'm curious. Just, let me know. Let me know. Cause I don't know. I've always, since they put that rack of manga into the middle school library, and since Shonen Jump was a thing that I collected before I gave it all to my brother, regrets, and I got in trouble at school for bringing manga to school. Have I shared my manga got me in trouble at school story? Margaret Evans, thank you very much. Have you read Crowded? No, I have not. What is it about? Tell me. Let me see. A lot of you read manga, watch anime. Yes. Share the story. Okay, so I read everything. As you can probably tell, I am not the most appropriate individual in the universe. So I read Love Hina. And the covers for that, could get a little bit, it is a harem. And I brought it to school and I got in trouble for bringing salacious material into the building. And I had to go to the principal's office and I had to sit there and explain how it was not inappropriate. I was so sassy. I remember they talked to me and I was like, there's worse stuff on the rack that's in the library. Have you read Death Note? And he was like, no, I haven't. He was like, just don't bring it to school anymore. And I was like, okay. It was so sassy. ERX Day first. DC should buy the rights to Knight Rider, make Michael Knight a Green Lantern, and Kit the Speed Force. The crossover we don't need but deserve. Or deserve, but I don't know. Whichever. Oh. I still have the issue that got me in trouble, but it's not up here. It's downstairs in a box somewhere. Oh, Madoka Magica is not for kids. It tricks you, though, because it's got that art style, and you think that you're dealing with some cutesy magical girl stuff. Then it gets hella dark. I have read Death Note. Yeah, I did. I also love the dub for Death Note. I'm not one of those like dubs yourself. I'll watch either. But sometimes I like one or the other for different reasons. I'm gonna take a potato chip and eat it is one of my favorite line readings of all time. I'm gonna take a potato chip and eat it. I love extraness. It's just so good. The extraness is something I live for a lot. It's why even though I didn't particularly like the second issue of Future State Superman / Wonder Woman, I did like that he punched the sun. That brings me in, like, I'll remember that forever. He punched the sun. That's funny. Anthony Broderick, can I draw a fan pic of you, Emma Frost and Huntress? Thank you very much. And you can do whatever your heart so desires. Oh, who's reading JoJo? I'm reading JoJo. I love JoJo. I also am collecting the Baccano light novels. I love when Japanese translates very well. I have a lot of Japanese novels. The ones that they deign to translate over here, they're kind of hard to get, but worth it in my opinion. Spanish also translates beautifully, and I have a bunch of those too. It's always, obviously, when you can learn the language and then read it in the original language, that's better. Japanese is a difficult language to learn. One day, hopefully, Obi, what anime and manga are you watching / reading now? I'm currently riding the Jujutsu Kaisen hype train. Right now, at the time of this recording, not anything new. I'm just reworking my way through collecting the deluxe Hellsings and the Berserks, and I'm collecting the sagas since they said that they were actually going to finish it. And I'm like, you better finish it because, I want to know. I invested time in this. Nick Rice, thank you very much. Good day. I found you recently during this year-long march, and your channel has been such a highlight for me. Thanks for being who you are. Thank you very much for watching. I know, I feel like it's the Groundhog Day meme that people are sharing. Like, well, it's day 293 of day one. Mechasaurus, thank you very much. I'd like to give a shout out to Princess Tutu. Princess Tutu is adorable. Princess Tutu is a really cute anime. It is. To hablas español? Let's see if I can even get the grammar right. Pequeño, poco. No es bueno. Es estudiante. There we go. Not great. Enough that when I went to Spain, I could speak, but like not well enough to hold on like a full conversation with people. Like enough that like I could do rudimentary conversation. Let me see. Catch up. Oh, there's so many things I want to collect. It's hard though, because you have that thing when you're collecting them of like, do you get the deluxe? Do you get the omnibus? Are they going to finish printing the things that they already printed? Questions. Well, currently right now, I'm just looking to get the Stephanie Brown Batgirl run. So I'm probably going to have to get that off of one of the American online like overstock sellers or from eBay, but I will achieve it. I will achieve it and it will be mine. Because since I don't collect singles / floppies all that much, I sometimes have to hunt down some of those old trades that people that aren't as in high demand as some of the others. Because not everything is going to get collected into cool, bundles like this Elseworlds one was, which is still a concept that I really enjoy. And I love that they've collected the what ifs. I'm collecting those too. I think they should do some equivalent thing for some of the Marvel style things that they've done. Hopefully they do that for the new Heroes Reborn when they collect it. God, Kamala, they named her Girl Power. Why you gotta do Kamala like that? I read what's in Poco? Yes. No, I collect digital as well. That's how I get most of the older stuff, like the Silver Age and the like. Yes, they do have the big omnibuses, and I have a couple of those, but it's much easier, especially if you're hopping around, to just, pick up the issues that you're going to be reviewing here and there. And most of them are pretty well updated. Like that Golden Age one, it's the Golden Age ones where they don't have the best original scans that they're working with that tend to not have as good digital updates, like the one with Clayface, where it was really oversaturated and way too bright and just not that you can tell that wasn't how it looked in the original when it was first published. Ugh. Like digital, the only thing with digital is they can take it away from you. Like you don't really own it, especially because Comixology isn't like some of the others. Like some other places let you download it. Like you download it, you hold it, it's on your tablet, it's whatever. But like they're not the same. They're not the same. So like never forget PT. Never forget that you could wake up and one day it's all gone. Or you could wake up and one day they've just taken pages or panels out of it. I always remember that. And that's why I like the physical. I'm like, it's mine. If anybody's going to take a page out of it, it's going to be me with some scissors. Oh. Who does Lois marry next? I actually have my next Lois scripted. It's just I have to film it, and then we'll get our next Lois. Lois still has to marry a convict. Lois has to marry that scientist guy. Oh, that scientist guy is up there with Zaplam in the level of sadness that we're about to achieve. At least Steph's run is all collected. Did you read Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey? I have not read that as of yet. Lois Lane marries Lois Lane. It's all come together in one great Lois Lane amalgam. Let's see. Fred Campbell. I love going to the comic shop. I have yet to have like a fully wholesome comic shop experience. Maybe this time will be good. Let it dream. Don't let your dreams be dreams. One day. I've always had better experiences going to the big giant bookstore, but that's just me. That has just been my experience. Maybe the ones I went to were just sketchy. I don't know. I mean, I've only been to like 3, so maybe fourth time is the charm. Hopefully, this one strand is driving me insane. It's been driving me insane the entire time. Oh my goodness. Ugh. It's still there. There's nothing can be done. Take scissors and just snip, snip, snip. There is one wig I have. It's actually like a Lois Lane one. For one day I want to do that Lois Lane lookbook that I joked about all that time ago. I have a bunch of like Lois Lane outfits. I think it'd be fun when we're done the Lois Lane list to rank all of the suitors while dressed in various Lois Lane outfits. Does that sound really lame? It is, but I still think it's great. So, Fernando, thank you very much. Thank you for being you. Was it the shops themselves or was it the other shoppers you had a bad experience with? The owners? It's the owners of choice. No, the employees. There we go. The employees. The employees. The other customers, you can't control who's there. I still had the creepiest customer experience I ever had was at a downtown bookstore. I'm going to tell you about it. I was there looking for a book. I was waiting for a friend and I was too early. So I decided like, I'm going to go to the bookstore and try to find a book. Such is a thing that I do. And so I went in, I'm looking. I am 8 months pregnant at this point with my first child. So this was years ago. And a dude comes up and full on starts hitting on me, like full on. And I'm just pregnant out to here. So the entire time it was surreal. Like I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm so pregnant. Like I'm so pregnant. And this is happening. It was one of those experiences where you're like, this is happening. And it just kept going on and on and on. And I finally had to pull the whole, like, my husband, I had to be like, yes, my husband loves this book. And then he like picked up his phone and was like, oh, some of my friends are waiting for me. I could tell he wasn't looking at anything on the screen and then left. And I was just like, this is a thing that happened. This is a thing that happened. I can't believe this happened. Why? Can't go anywhere. Master Monkima. Thank you very much. Late to the party. Been writing my master's final paper. Due in a few hours. Thanks for the distraction. Awesome channel. What is your paper on? Tell me. Is it on Lois Lane getting married? Is it? Meow Nyan. Thank you very much. Any Alpha Flight love? Best wishes. I do like Alpha Flight. I do actually like Alpha Flight. And I love his stupid Canadian like flag on the side of his outfit. I like Puck a lot. Puck is cool. And I'm not a big fan of the Puck. The like Putt retcons that they did are a fascinating tale. The tales of retcons in general are so interesting. Seeing what works and what doesn't that's why even the ones I don't enjoy sometimes, it's just fascinating watching what works and what doesn't work in the land of retcons and retconicity, which it's, props for trying, but sometimes they just really don't work. I wonder what retcons are going to look like now with the Omniverse model, or if we're even going to attempt it or not. Oh my god, my leg is asleep. Ugh. For those of you who are coming in late, I will have this up. If it ends up going over 2 hours, what happens is that they only can process 2 hours at a time, and so then the rest of it like slowly trickles in, because I've had that where then it processes and they're like, where's the first half? And it's like, it just takes a while. There's so much stuff being uploaded to YouTube. It takes a minute for it to catch up with itself, Worst retcons of all time would be a fun video, but also controversial because everybody has different retcons that they don't like. And sometimes there's this thing that happens where you don't like the retcon, but you don't mind the storylines and the direction that the character was taken after. So you have a retcon where you're like, I don't, boo, but then everything after you enjoy. So you're in this bizarre space of I like and dislike this simultaneously. I have, like, for me, that's Hal Jordan Parallax. Like, that retcon knows what it did. He killed all those people. But I do enjoy what they did afterwards, even though I'm also sad about Kyle. So there's so many feelings at the same time in your head floating, and you're holding them all, juggling them all up in the air simultaneously. Guardian retcon, but I love Guardian. Oh my gosh, yeah, Donna Troy? What is even going to happen with Donna Troy? Because if the Omniverse model is everything happened, then Donna Troy is Diana's sister, but is made from, is like the descendant of gods, but is, oh my God. Oh, poor Donna. Poor Donna. Everything that happens makes it worse for her. Hawkman's all the things. Hawkman is. We're just going to have to add that sentence onto other people because it's going to be such intense madness. Such intense madness is going on out there. Do you like Jessica? Jessica who? You can't just say Jessica. There are so many Jessicas. I will not commit until I know which Jessica. Which Jessica? Does this everything happening include other media? I don't think so, but can you imagine the madness if it did? Just my word. My word. Mechasaurus, thank you very much. Just go back to Donna's original origin already. Making it more convoluted doesn't make it better. It's true. I actually thought, because I've done all those Donna videos, when they first explained it, I thought they did an adequate job. I was like, okay, it makes sense. You know, we can all acknowledge that, you know, there were some shenanigans that happen in accidents, but this makes a decent amount of sense. But the change that happened wasn't her fault. It's because they retconned Diana. And so then because she was attached to her, it was this trickle-down effect. And, that's what happens when you're a sidekick. You're doomed to have the trickle-down of all the other people that you're attached to just coming for you. The Otaku Cat, thank you. How big of a flop was Marvel's A-Force, or is that a future video discussion? I have not actually read A-Force, although I have read some of the early Valkyrie stuff. Valkyrie is one of those people who has like a really convoluted thing, and you know I enjoy that, so that's something that I want to. I haven't talked about Marvel in a while, and it's honestly not shade. There's people are like, you're so shady. Like, no, it's just I go through phases with things. I don't know how you guys enjoy things. Share, please. But sometimes I just get focused on a certain thing, like Clayface, and I'm just there. And then other times I'll be focused on another character or universe. Like, it could be in a few months from now, it's like, where's DC? I don't know. It's just, it just depends how I'm vibing on that day. Let's do a vibe retrospective. That's what the people want. Breakdancing for life. JMPM. Thanks for the Clayface series. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for watching the Clayface series, because it's not done. Cassius is going to be a hard one. Cassius made me cry. Yeah, I cried. I really cried like a sap. What can I say? K2KYD, thank you very much for the super chat. Cassius hurt my heart. Oh, it's the things that happened to Cassius in that story. But I talk about it in the video, which I've already scripted. I'm just finishing out some last minute details on later sightings of Cassius, because there are a couple of stories that are attributed to him that I'm not sure if it is him or not. So I know it doesn't matter. And I'm like, I need to find out if this is really Cassius or not. The people need to know, even though this universe has been rebooted like 8 times, but the people still need to know, is this Cassius? This years later, when they're asked, like, which Clayface was in Superman/Batman number 19, they'll be able to be like, bam, Cassius. Okay, so once we're done with identifying Clayfaces, I want to do a confusing history of Basil Carlo and the changes that he's gone through from like Vincent Pricey, you know, inspired in the later eras, because obviously it was too early for that when he first debuted in the Golden Age, to what he became later on, especially in Tynan's run. I can finally say his last name because I heard him say it. So huzzah, huzzah, I'm pronouncing it correctly at this point. Yay. Let's see. ChemDog wants to know, is anybody looking forward to the new Heroes Reborn? Share. That's what this is all about. Share the excitement or lack of excitement or thoughts and feelings about things, because we can talk about things in the space. Yes. Margaret, you are a little late. We did, I guess there wasn't as much to talk about with like this as I think we did okay. I'll give myself a B+ for the amount of coverage of Batman Holy Terror. Yes, definitely. And again, this is the first time as we go on, it's gonna, you know, it's going to evolve. For those of you who picked it up to read it for this, are you glad that you picked it up? Like, did you enjoy, was it something that you would have picked up otherwise, or was this a new experience? Lobi, thank you very much. Since all the Clayfaces technically exist now, how much would you pay for a new mud pack? Only if it's as fun as that mud pack. That mud pack just went for it. I don't know if I want a like super angsty introspective mud pack. I want a ridiculous mud pack. You know, he made a little Clay Hagen and propped him up with a spoon. I'm not sure what having Hagen be alive would do for that dynamic. You know, I saw a Tumblr post the other day ranking Clayfaces, and they didn't include Hagen because they were like, he's that much of a non-character. I was like, I don't know how to feel about that level of Hagen erasure. Yeah, I still be on Tumblr sometimes. That's right. I'm still there. It is not the same place, but I'm still there. Matthew Salveria, thank you very much. My Elseworld is to use the Charlton DC heroes on their own world again, but dealing with Watchmen plot and how they would face the story based on them. That'd be interesting. You know, when they did Convergence, I know people like to rag on Convergence, but there was an issue where they actually had those characters in their Charlton format, and that was really interesting to read, because then you had all the... Convergence was, people are comparing Future State to Convergence, but Convergence was very different. And Convergence was much more of a love letter to all of the things that people were missing, whereas Future State is much more of a establishing of the new stuff and also throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. K2KYD, thank you. You are the best thing on YouTube right now. Thanks for the quality content. Also, RIP Tumblr. Thank you for the compliment. I'm definitely not. There are several cat videos that I think are far better. Also, those videos of people pouring stuff into things, very therapeutic. You know, they pour it into the cup and then they pour it into another cup. That's what I'm watching on YouTube, clearly. Stevie, thank you very much. Do you prefer Batman and Superman with briefs over the pants or just pants? I can't take them seriously with undies over the pants. Makes me think some villain would give them a wedgie. Over pants. I like the undies over, they're not undies, I know they're trunks. I like the wrestling trunks over the pants. It's probably just a familiarity thing because it's the designs that I grew up with, so I'm used to them, and to me they look incomplete without the pants on at that point. Also, paradoxically, I feel like it actually accents things more in an awkward way when there are no trunks. Then, does that make any sense to anybody else? Well, that's what I think. Of course, it's obviously not like a gauntlet thrown down type thing. Like, how dare you? You know, I will never read Superman again until his trunks come back. Nick Rice, thank you very much. If all stories exist, can we still call Shazam Captain Marvel? Oh, I wish. Don't let your dreams be yours. Can we still call Black Adam and not call him Shazam? Or if we're going to name him something else, can he at least have a name that is as cool as his original name? That's all the people want. Cool names for characters. Black Adam's awesome. And he had some great arcs. Like in 52, Black Adam in 52 is amazing. That was where I first really encountered. I've encountered so many characters in 52. And that story is such a love letter to like the C Squad. And they're like, the C Squad can be just as good as the A Squad. I'm like, heck yeah, they can. Trunks, what's Vegeta's son have to do with it? Let me catch up with all of you. Don't you mean Speedy's hat? What do you mean Speedy? Roy Harper? Oh, the tale of Roy. The tale of poor Roy. I love Roy. And the universe does not love Roy. That's sad. Meow Nian, thank you very much. Important question. If there was a DC high school dating sim, this is truly an important question. Who are the suitors? What academy would it be set in? Is it all Bat family characters? If there was a DC high school dating sim, you bet it would happen at Gotham High because Gotham seems to be like the most established area. And it would be one of those scenarios where for some reason, despite the fact that they're in different cities, everybody goes to Gotham High. Because if we are in a dating sim scenario, we can bend the rules. For some reason, they will all go there. I think we should just have the Justice League's choices. Like, why not? Like, you know, if Gotham High can exist and be a published high school AU, we can do this. We can make that happen, you know? I think there was one on itch.io. What in the visual novel section, there are always people making their own dating sims like that. There are a bunch of My Hero Academia ones. There's everything on there. It's interesting. There are a couple of games that I am following. They also have horror releases. Like that's where Markiplier gets a lot of his like 3 scary games and stuff. There's some really interesting games on itch.io. I've had many a fun hour looking at games on there. So if you're looking for indie games and that's your thing, check them out. They have jams all the time too for different themes and the like. And that is a lot of fun as well. Do you even game, bro? I do, or I did when I had time. But no, I don't. I haven't even been able to pick up Persona 5 Strikers, and I love me some Persona 5. Gotham Academy. You know what? Anytime you put like people in a school, people are going to read it. So that's why I don't understand why people make fun of high school AUs. They're like, that's lame. I'm like, but everybody loves them. They do. They're like, give me all the new young X-Men and give me like Strange Academy and give me all of these things. But high school AUs, I'm like, don't even pretend. Don't be fronting. You love the kids in the high school. It's such a classic trope. People do it in fan fiction. They do it officially. It's just, you know, some things are tried and true. Carl Jacobson, thank you very much. Ran across your channel at random a while back and keep coming back for your wit, enthusiasm, and snark, and something about your voice is enchanting. Thank you, because I hate my voice. Thanks for introducing me to so many interesting comics. When I was a kid, I thought I had a cool voice like Jessica Rabbit, and then I heard it one day on recording, and it was like Harley Quinn, and it's something I never got over. So, yes, in Convergence, Roy did get his daughter back, but I mean, I'm still not okay with what happened to Leanne. So much of Cry for Justice was shock value. So much of it. And like the deeper you get and the more you know, like they exploded Preston Payne. What did Preston do to anybody? I mean, aside from all the people he killed, but let's see. Teen Titans High School AU dating sim. That one would probably be easier to make, but everybody would just probably be spending all their time trying to get Raven to date Beast Boy. There is some intense stuff that happens in that fan art community, by the way. Intense. When I was researching it a while back. Oh my God, I made it worse. The worst. Don't take this as a thing on the quality because the quality of this company is really good. It's just my cat, Alvin. I have 2 cats, Alvin and Theodore, and Alvin is living up to his name. Why is he like that? Yeah, no, I think everybody has that revelation with their voice too. I agree because you hear it differently in your own head, obviously, because you have all like the echo and the thing in your mind, and then you hear it played back to how you sound to other people, and you're like, oh. That is not the voice that I thought that I had. No, Simon, 3 cats. I already have 2. Let's see. Lois Lane dating sim. Like if I could learn to code. If I could code, then that's what I would spend my time doing. You're like, this is what the people truly need. they need the Lois Lane dating sim with all these characters from the Silver Age that no one would know. I can see all the reviews now. Confusing, says, I don't know, Kotaku. I mean, why did this happen? Problematic, says Polygon. You know, it would have the worst reviews of all time. Just like, what was up with that plastomold machine? Why was there a horse? I kind of want to make it now just for how awful it would be. What? Superman was really out of character. Oh, it would be so good. It would make sense only, oh yeah, he's so handsome. It would make sense only to us. All the dialogue would be so, is he handsome? I can't go to my college reunion because I'm not married, says Lois Lane. Lois is late for work. Does she jump off a cliff? Dive into a river? Like, oh my gosh. I wish this game was real now. It would be so amazing. Oh, Lois is mad at Superman. Does she date Lex Luthor? Bruce Wayne. Oh, so good. Too good. This is a world that I want to live in. Oh. Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane is a reverse harem anime that nobody asked for. More reviews. Why doesn't Lois do any reporting in this story? Lois Lane, worst protagonist. Oh. Yeah, critic reviews would be bad. Fan reviews would be fantastic, but also only from us because we're going back to all of these stories from like the 70s and 60s. Be like, these stories were made up. This never happened. Who even did this? I like this Lois. Who forgot to invite Chun-Li to the Lois Lane dating sim? There we go. We've achieved peak headline. We've achieved peak headline at that point. Let me see. Does she even? She does. In like the latest Lois miniseries was all about her actually, being a reporter and doing stuff. Oh, Batman does marry Batwoman. I always want to do that story, but I never have time at some point. Mostly because that story turns out to be Robin's fever dream, which will never not be funny. So, Rand Moore, I need to know if everything exists. Does that mean amalgam happened? How does that even work? Thank you for the super chat. I don't know how it works. Magnets, how do they work? I don't know. I don't know how it works. We'll see. We'll see how and if it works. I know some people are casting their bets now. They're like, it will fail. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'll see. I'm willing to wait the couple of years to see what happens. Why did you say that name? Let me see. What's your opinion on Smallville? Love it. Love Smallville. I hate few things. There are very few things that I actually truly despise. So there we go. But have I hit my? I have. Oh. Well, look, let me do this first. Thank you again. A visual novel where all the characters are Golden Age characters, except they're in hot. Yes. You play as Dollman, playing detective for various petty crimes around the. I love it. If I was a rich person and there was like, we're selling characters and they're like, who do you want? And like Dollman's up there, me first, me some too. I want Dollman. I want Dollman and all of the Dollman stories. I love Dollman so much. Sometimes I actually go and I look at Dollman comics and just dream of the world where I could, because they're expensive, like here's 250, 9.8 grade, whatever that means, because that's not like a thing that I'm really into. Quality Dollman. I'm like, I just want Dollman, but no one will ever collect it because no one but me cares. It was so good. There were so many really interesting stories that I need in my life. Dollman, please. Oh. No gritty reboot of Dollman. Okay. I know lots of people don't like Teen Titans Go. I do. Deal with it. Brown. But there is one episode where they meet Shazam. Like they start off complaining. I just call him Shazam. Ugh. Where they start off and they're talking about how come all the shows are like grim and gritty and dark, and then they meet Captain Marvel and they're so happy because he's there and he's fighting Mr. Mind and it's ridiculous and silly. But it turns out to be a really serious threat and the world is nearly destroyed because they're not taking it seriously. And Billy has a great speech at the end where he's like, the fact that people didn't take these silly stories like seriously or didn't view them as, something to be taken seriously is why stories are so dark now. And I'm like, it's true. It's true. Just let Dollman be Dollman. Let Dollman be Dollman, accept Dollman on Dollman's terms. That's, I love Teen Titans Go. I don't even care. I liked it before I had kids. No shame in my game. I know. Megazords unsubscribe. Boo. Oh. Dollman's no rusty. I need to highlight more Golden Age people. The Golden Age is an era. Like when I talk about Bucky, eventually, other people are gonna be like, let's go with the Winter Soldier because that's the show that's coming out. I'm gonna be like 1940s, Bucky as a child. Let's do this. No one asked for it. We're doing it anyway. I asked for it. That's how we roll. Oh, Dollman. Dollman, do you bleed? Dollman, do you shrink? You will. Then it would just be that character from Harvey Birdman. Who's the little alien who shrinks everybody with the little shrink gun and he's obsessed with it? Like, I'll shrink you. And then he has that one episode, which is, I think, one of my favorite episodes of the series, where he's dating the lady with the big booty, and he's so torn because he likes the big booty, but he loves to shrink things. I'm not allowed places. I should not be allowed places or on live streams. There we go. Oh, I should do the Ant-Man, the creep Ant-Man. Who else remembers creep Ant-Man? Because there have been multiple Ant-Mans. That's another thing we could do. All of the Ant-Man retrospective, ending on creep Ant-Man, who spies on, was it Carol? Is it Carol he spies on in the shower? I think it is. I think he gets in her purse and spies on her in the shower. That's a plot that I vaguely remember happening. So if anybody else can confirm that, then let me see. Reducto. Yes. Reducto. Thank you. It's been a while. It's been a few years between me and Harvey Birdman. So irredeemable Ant-Man. There we go. Yes. Truly was irredeemable. I'm glad that, see, this is why I love it. I can say it and you'll remember. It's good. It's just good. The universe expands as we all remember the various collective things that we've read, because we've all read different things. Yes, we did. Oh, I remember that issue where Wasp and Ant-Man go to Vegas. I do remember. I actually read that recently and I don't remember why, but I did read that recently. They're all, we're not married, but this is like our date anyway. Yeah. Oh. He gets better by the end of the volume. I mean, it's a pretty steep hill to climb from I got these powers and I use them to spy on the ladies in the shower. Love me, when you could be reading so many other people who aren't doing that. Why? I don't understand. There we go. But I must say, we have gone slightly over 2 hours, so it will break into a couple of parts, but I must leave you, for I have to go and cook chowder. So I am going to go and make, not my world famous, just my chowder that I make for my family. And thank you very much for coming and hanging out. This was a lot of fun. In the next few days, over on the members tab, I will have the vote. I do think it would be fun to do an indie one, so there'll be more indie choices. And should they win, then we will be back for another indie comic. We will see. I'll then put the time. It might not be as long, depending upon how things go, but I'll put everything in the community tab. So if you're ever wondering where things are, check in that community tab, because I do put updates and the like in there. It's also where I put the polls that I've been doing, because it's been a lot of fun. And I just find it fun to see who people vote for, because I have a very varied demographic. So it's interesting to see what everybody's into. So thank you. This was a lot of fun. I hope that you had fun. Leave feedback down below. If there's anything like you're like, no, you need the Streamlabs or you talk about it more, just, give it. This was the first time. So share. Oh, each time we'll get a little bit better and a little bit more profesh on the book club. So I hope that you had a good time. Thank you, ARX Day First, for this last super chat. Thank you very much. I wouldn't visit Canada right now because you can't do anything, but thank you. And I will see you all again soon. More videos coming soon, as always. Alrighty. Bye-bye.